Welcome to New York's #2 sports show. The Rangers get their first win of the season, and Mike Sullivan gets his first win as Rangers head coach. Final score 4-0 in Buffalo. Look, this is a close game for most of the way. Rangers had a 1-0 lead, one that they gained in the first period and pretty much held it until a little more than 5 minutes left in the third when they added some insurance, a couple of goals, and then an empty net goal to win 4-0. Igor Shesterkin makes all 37 saves. He was outstanding. He's off to a great start in just the first 2 games, but a nice bounce back. I mean, look, far from perfect, and I think that there's still a lot of things that concern me. But the sad part about this game is the unknown as far as Vincent Trocheck. Trocheck leaves the game due to an upper body injury. Last he played was about middle of the second period, and he was ruled out before the start of the third. So don't know much about that. Not really sure where it came from. I mean, he's been wearing a face shield, but I doubt that has, I mean, it is upper body. So it's, I guess, within the realms of possibility, but I would think that it's unrelated to that. He took a puck to the face during training camp, and that's why he's wearing the face shield. But that would be a big loss, obviously. He plays in all situations. It really does sort of change the look. And so now what if he is out? Now what happens? Does now Mika Zibanejad go from wing to center? We did see Zibanejad for large stretches playing in between Panarin and Lafrenière, which is where we used to Trocheck. And so that moved things around where I think a lot of, again, it wasn't consistent all the time, but I think it led to JT Miller centering Cooley and Connor Sherry. And then it was a little bit of Laba with Edstrom and Radish, I guess, but they did work in Carrick and Rempe. Again, like, we'll see. And as far as who enters the lineup, right? Is it Parson or Brodzinski? Your guess is kind of as good as mine, right? Because they're kind of similar where they can both play center and could play wing. I guess Parson more of a centerman, whereas Brodzinski we've seen more versatility from, but I don't know that even factors into the conversation, but I am curious to see like who is kind of next man up, right? I don't know for sure, but kind of here nor there, hoping that with Trocheck, who, look, Vincent Trocheck, before we get into the game, like, that is someone who, in his time with the Rangers, I want to get this right. It's possible that Vincent Trocheck has not missed a game as a Ranger. Let me see this here. Yeah, 82 games played in each of his first 3 seasons, which is a very impressive feat. And this is someone that, look, like, even you look at the year before, Carolina, 81 games. This is someone that, is tough and, is also durable in the sense that he doesn't miss time. So if he does, it's something legit. But hopefully, it's something that isn't significant. But Vincent Trocheck, that's kind of the dark cloud over this win. But glad that Mike Sullivan gets his first win. It was sort of like tables were turned slightly. Now, I feel as if Buffalo played better in this game than the Rangers did against the Penguins, but it was nice that the Rangers kind of returned the favor where they, the Rangers were the ones that were trailing 1-0 at home for almost for basically 2 periods at Madison Square Garden. Whereas this game, the Rangers, take a lead, like I said, middle of the first, and they're able to hang on and keep that shutout. And again, Igor has only allowed 1 goal in 2 games this year. But, they go same lineup. I wasn't sure that they would, but they went with the same exact lineup. So again, Parsonen, Brodzinski, Robertson are your healthy scratches. And yeah, just looking at some of the ice times, unsurprisingly, it's a lot of Fox and Gavrikov, who I felt like they had a better game than they did. And most players had better games than they did in game 1. Not everyone, though, actually. But, yeah, like, and looking at the ice time, it is possible. Like, if Matthew Robertson were to ever get a game, Vakanainen would probably be the healthy scratch in that case, which isn't, I'm not saying anything earth-shattering at all. Like, that's the logical. That makes most sense, right? He's the third pair of left side defensemen. So that kind of would be the case, but he, his minutes are certainly less than the other 5. fairly significantly. I mean, I guess Borgen didn't play that much more than him, but as far as from a shifts perspective, 20 shifts for Vacanine, where the next closest is 25 from Braden Schneider, who's his defensive partner. But let's just kind of start out from the top. And um, Rangers get a power play. Gerritsen trips Zibanejad at 7:14. One of my big problems with this team currently is the power play, and it's looking a lot like it did last year. And with Trocheck out, it puts Lafrenière in. But even still, that's not going to move the needle a whole lot, just in the sense that it has that same feel, right? Because this power play is very much predicated mostly, like the players that have the puck the most are Fox, Panarin, and then I guess Zibanejad, right? Miller kind of has more of a net front role for now. And again, I know it's only 2 games, but that's got to get better. And if it doesn't, I don't think this Ranger team is going far. Like, and it doesn't need to be top 5 elite. I'm not even saying that. Let it at least be middle of the pack. I mean, let it at least be halfway decent. So that's something that I watch. And look, there's good zone possession. And we saw that a lot last year too, where they would, but just not great A quality chances within that. It's not like they're getting robbed by the goalie in this case. And the goalie in this game for the Buffalo Sabres was Jake Line, not Jake Line, Alex Line, excuse me. And he played all right, but Igor was better than him. But Rangers don't score on that power play. And then at 11:43, they get on the board for their first goal of the season, and it's Alexis Lafrenière. And I believe Lafrenière actually 2 years ago, if memory serves me correct, in Buffalo, I believe he got the first goal of the Rangers season that year as well. And for Alexis Lafrenière, too, taking another step, his first career goal was an overtime goal in 2021 at Buffalo. So I guess, going to play the Sabres has done well for Lafrenière, and a nice in-front sort of goal where uses a little bit of skill, but some grittiness as well. And the assists go to Trocheck and Panarin. It's a play where Carson Soucy drops the puck off for Panarin. We'll talk more about Carson Soucy later. Believe it or not, positive on Carson Soucy. And Panarin takes a shot towards the net. I guess it goes off of Trocheck, and then Lafrenière is able to kind of deftly, gain control of the puck, stays with him, and is kind of sitting there near Lyon's pad, and he's able to just tuck it by him. A really nice goal by Lafrenière. This was a much better. I mean, Lafrenière, who really, to be fair, it wasn't as if he was horrendous in game 1. It was that goal against that just bothered me. Among the top 6, he probably was one of the better ones, but Lafrenière played well. And he is going to be so important to this team's success. Really, like, he is one of the few young players that has talent and ability, right? Because this is a team that a big part of the core is, getting older. Not, like when you think about, Artemi Panarin, J.T. Miller, Mika Zibanejad, these are not young players. Alexis Lafrenière is. And so he needs to perform, and that makes it one of the Rangers. And it was a good first period for the Rangers, especially at the start. It ends up with 16 shots to 11 Rangers. It was a good response from a listless dud of the game at MSG for the home opener. Second period, not as good. Sabres outshoot the Rangers 14-5, but Igor was up to the challenge, got it done. A lot of penalties in the second. No one scores off of them, but Will Cooley trips Peyton Krebs at the 28-second mark. Rangers kill it off. 6:22, Vacanine interferes with Josh Doan. Rangers kill it off. 14:28, matching minors to Braden Schneider and Jason Zucker for roughing. Killed off. And then Will Borgen removes the helmet of Zucker at 17:58, and that's killed as well. So good job of the Ranger penalty kill. Really in numerous instances, the Ranger PK goes 4 for 4 on the game. That was really important. And they did well. I mean, as much as Igor made good saves, I thought the penalty kill did the job. I'm still trying to get like my bearing straight as far as, some of the penalty kill duos and, the ice time. I mean, just kind of going through it quickly. And I'm more paying attention to the forwards, but I guess defense is, defense as well. Let me check. That's the thing. Vacanine didn't get any penalty killing time. So that kind of feeds into his ice time. And again, like sort of his role again, it's one where I think Vakanainen is the preference over Robertson for sure. But again, in a pinch, they could make that swap. And hey, I don't know, like the Mike Sullivan philosophy, but with a back to back, and maybe you want to get Robertson. Like, does he want him cold sitting out game after game? Probably not. And so maybe Matthew Robertson gets a look this weekend. Just throwing it out there. Um, it's funny. Adam Edstrom's the guy that I really thought would have gotten a look on the penalty kill. That hasn't happened. So he's one of those few guys that doesn't really have a special teams role currently. So Will Cooley, big time minutes for Gavrikov on the kill. Connor Sherry, that was kind of I did not expect him. Like he's had a much bigger role than I would have thought. And I don't know how I feel about that. Like again, he was in the AHL for basically all of last season. Just saying. But yeah, like he's been getting power play 2-time and on the kill. Sam Carrick, that's not a surprise. So yeah. Taylor Radish on the kill. Let's see Zibanejad. Yeah, Zibanejad too. So kind of just a mix, and I'll have a better idea on kind of the exact pair. It's tough with Trocheck getting hurt as well. Kind of throws things off there too. But a really nice job by the kill. And it's a 1-0 game after 2. And it's a good job by the Rangers to be able to protect the lead, but the power play was frustrating. 4 seconds into the third, Tage Thompson high sticks Will Cooley, and the Rangers don't score, right? That's a chance to kind of not put a team away at that point, but, give yourself more breathing room. They don't do it. At 6:54, Will Cooley trips Josh Jones. So two penalties for Will Cooley, 2 tripping minors. You don't want that, obviously, but luckily it's no harm, no foul as the Rangers are able to prevent the Sabres from scoring on the man advantage. 9:24, Justin Danforth hooks Vakanainen, but yet again, the Rangers don't score. It's kind of a recipe for disaster. However, at 14:46, it's Carson Soucy scoring from Will Borgen and JT Miller. This is a play where the Rangers were able to keep it in the zone. Nice job by Miller to kind of intercept the pass. Borgen holds it at the line, and Soucy's going in all alone on the left side and just scores past line. And you know what? I actually feel like Carson Soucy, beyond the goal, he's actually looked pretty good the first couple. To be fair to him, because I have my concerns about Carson Soucy. And this has been Carson Soucy has had years where he's been good. He was not good last year with Vancouver the Rangers. The year before that, he was solid. So maybe maybe this is just a year where Soucy is effective. I certainly hope so. Because that was a trade that, did not look good last year and, just going into the season, but Soucy has a fairly big role on this team. I mean, Carson Soucy is the second pair left side defenseman. Now it's kind of interesting where I haven't loved what I've seen from Will Borgen, who has been his defensive partner. Borgen, who I think for the most part looked pretty solid as a Ranger. It earned him an extension. And, again, that's debatable as to whether that was the right move or not. But Will Borgen did a nice job last year after he was acquired from the Kraken and the Capo Caco deal. But actually, Borgen, I think, has been a little bit shaky. And, again, that Vakanainen and Schneider pair, not the best. Again, I thought Gavrikov Fox was better. This Ranger team, it's not the fastest, as we know. And I want them to play a quicker game somehow, right? You don't need to have the individual foot speed, but I think there's a pace. And I just, I want that to get better. I don't know that it will, but I hope so. Staying on just the player evaluations, I know Alaba, I felt as if he was not as effective this game as he was in game 1. Of course, I'm hoping that he continues to play. I don't want him to be a healthy scratch. And, obviously with the Trocheck potential injury, that certainly wouldn't appear to be the case. But I felt like maybe his game wasn't as strong in this. Yeah, look, it was a better I feel like Panarin and JT Miller as the game wore on got better. I still feel like for both of them, they're trying to kind of find their sea legs a bit where Panarin, his timing's a little bit off. JT Miller, I feel like is still kind of dealing with the injury. So, but again, I feel as if improvements were made there, but far from 100% too. So a big goal by Carson Soucy to make it 2-0. And then at 17-11, JT Miller scores. First goal as Ranger captain, assisted by Schneider and Lafrenière. So this is a play where Lafrenière is able to basically make a nice play in the corner in the Sabres zone, right? That's good stuff from Lafrenière to get to the dirty areas. passes to the point. Braden Schneider takes a shot, and it's deflected in the slot by JT Miller. So now it's 3-0 Rangers, just like that. And the Soucy goal, that was the one that really fell. Hey, that was big. But then the Miller one puts out a reach essentially there. And then you get an empty net goal 14 seconds later. For some reason, Lindy Ruff down 3 pulls the goalie, and Adam Fox, I guess why not? But Adam Fox scores from, basically a face-off won by Sam Carrick. Carrick gets the assist and Fox scores. I'm pretty sure last year, Fox, who had trouble for a while scoring goals, and he was only getting like empty net goals, I'm pretty sure that one of them was against the Buffalo Sabres early. Same sort of situation. But the Rangers get the 4-0 win, which again it's good with new coach. I think that people were pretty frustrated and deservedly so off of that Penguin game. So now the Rangers are 1-1, and next up for them is facing the Penguins yet again. This time in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh coming off a win against the Islanders, so the Penguins off to a surprising 2-0 start. And then the Rangers will actually have a back-to-back. They will take on the Washington Capitals at Madison Square Garden. The Capitals, they will be facing the Islanders. So not on Long Island. So not a far trip for Washington for their back-to-back. But some Metropolitan Division action there at Pittsburgh, home against Washington. Jonathan Quick, I'm sure will get one of those games. Your guess is as good as mine as to which one it'll be. I'm not going to venture to guess. And I'm just hoping that Vincent Trocheck's all right. But yeah, Igor Shesterkin, he was the story of this game, but good first period for the Rangers. Not as good second period, but third period, they kind of even things out, find a way to win, get the shutout. So both Ranger games involving shutouts. First time to them, this time to the Sabres. And yeah, again, I'm hoping that Trocheck, this is nothing serious. As again, he has not missed a game as a Ranger since being acquired before the 22-23 season. So, Rangers will travel from Buffalo to Pittsburgh to take on the Penguins again. Rangers now 1-1. Mike Sullivan gets his first win as Rangers head coach.